The crystal ballroom of the Metropolitan Tower gleamed with golden light from its signature Art Deco chandeliers, each fixture worth more than most people's cars, casting intricate shadows across the polished marble floors. Dad had spared no expense for his 60th birthday celebration, transforming the city's most prestigious event space into something worthy of a royal reception. White roses cascaded from towering centerpieces at every table, and a live jazz quartet played sophisticated melodies that floated through conversations peppered with the confident laughter of the city's elite. I stood quietly near the massive windows that offered a breathtaking view of the city skyline far below, watching the celebration unfold around me like a scene from a movie I wasn't really part of. The guest list read like a who's who of the metropolitan area's most successful residents, prominent attorneys, influential politicians, wealthy real estate developers, and old money families whose names appeared on hospital wings and university buildings. Dad commanded the center of attention in his custom-tailored midnight blue tuxedo. His silver hair was perfectly styled, his confident smile reflecting the satisfaction of a man who had built an empire from nothing. At 60, Vincent Castellano still possessed the kind of magnetic presence that made other powerful men seek his counsel. And I can tell you, he was saying to a circle of admirers, success isn't about luck or timing. It's about vision, execution, and surrounding yourself with people who understand what it takes to build something lasting. My stepmother Patricia stood beside him like a perfectly polished accessory, radiant in her champagne silk gown. My older half-brother Marcus dominated the conversation from Dad's right side, confident, polished, and already treated as the heir. The Morrison Tower project brought in $12 million in commissions this quarter, Marcus said casually. Most people simply don't have the intelligence or drive to operate at this level. I sipped my champagne and let their familiar boasts wash over Emmy. They had no idea that the black cocktail dress I wore was custom-made by a fashion house that dressed tech moguls, or that my pearl earrings were worth more than Marcus's monthly salary. Dad's voice rose again. I want to talk about legacy. The room quieted. When I started Castellano Properties, I built not just wealth but a dynasty. His gaze eventually found me. And then there's Natalie, he said, warmth draining from his tone. My biological daughter, who continues to disappoint me. The words landed like glass breaking. 200 guests turned to look. Natalie refuses to join the family business, he continued. Lives in a tiny apartment, drives an old car, and plays at business ventures no one here would consider serious. Marcus smirked. Patricia looked pleased. I set down my glass and walked toward them. Dad, I said calmly, there might be a misunderstanding about my work. He didn't even look at me properly. Please don't embarrass yourself further. A few guests chuckled nervously. Then he snapped, security. Remove her. The room went silent. A security guard approached. Professional, respectful but confused as he got closer. Excuse me. Are you Miss Natalie Castellano? Yes. His expression changed immediately. Ma'am, you are listed as the building owner. Silence swallowed the ballroom. Dad frowned. What did he just say? The guard continued, almost reluctantly. You own the Metropolitan Tower. You are the primary contact for all security operations. Dad's face hardened. That's impossible. I unlocked my phone and opened my property dashboard. Actually, it's true. I turned the screen toward him. I bought this building 18 months ago for $247 million. The number hit like a physical force. Marcus leaned in. That portfolio. That's over $400 million. 437. I corrected. Real estate alone. Patricia went pale. Dad shook his head. How? I started investing at 18 with Grandma's trust fund. $2 million. I bought my first property downtown. Reinvested everything after that. I looked around the room. I now own 12 commercial buildings, including this one. Your office building, Marcus's residence, and Patricia's spa location. The implication spread through the guests like wildfire. We weren't just family. We were tenants. The security guard cleared his throat. Should I remove anyone, ma'am? I smiled slightly. No. but please ask the building manager to come up. Moments later, the building manager arrived and began speaking to my family about lease agreements and policy. Guests started standing up, introducing themselves. People who once ignored me now wanted meetings. Dad sat frozen. Later, he finally spoke. "Why didn't you tell us?" I met his eyes. "Because every time I tried, you told me I didn't understand real estate." Silence. I decided to let my results speak for themselves. The night shifted completely. By the end of the evening, Dad approached me again. "I was wrong," he said quietly. "I know," I replied. "But we can start over." Marcus even asked to work with me. "Entry level," I said. He nodded immediately. "That's fine." At the end of the night, Dad raised a final toast. I said my daughter disappointed me. He said, voice steady, "I was wrong. She's built an empire." He looked at me with something I hadn't seen before. Respect to Natalie. Applause filled the ballroom. And for the first time, I didn't feel like I was standing in anyone's shadow. The next morning, 3 developers called with partnership offers, and Dad helped me schedule the meetings.